where are you from? You know, they get curious. They want to know where are we from. And other than that, really, there was not much problem. I mean, I just feel I have a little like fear to go and ask for other jobs. Like, I mean, I would like to, you know, work in bigger universities, but I just feel like I would not for some reason.
Have you heard of people having trouble because of wearing the hijab, getting jobs in other universities or other positions because they insist on wearing the hijab?
Well, not much, but I will say, like myself, I mean, I don't know if I should say this little story, but I have
Sure.
I wasn't wearing hijab before, like I started wearing it 5 years ago. Before I was working in the school, it's called St. Mary's School, and I worked on it for 2 years. It was very good. It was a very good job that I really loved, and I liked it very much. So when I had my first kid, I left the school, and then 5 years later, I said I want to go back. Well, I went back with my hijab. They wouldn't take me, and you know, looking back, when I was leaving, they were like almost crying. They did not want me to leave. I mean, they loved me so much. I was doing a very good job.
Yes.
So I went back to the principal and I wanted the job back. And he didn't even call me back. Like, when he met me with my scarf.
And you feel like solely the issue was because of the hijab?
It was definitely because of that. Yeah. I mean, it's a shame, but what can you do, you know?
Right.
But it doesn't slow us down. I mean, we keep trying. Alhamdulillah, in the college, I didn't have much problem. I mean, maybe because it's a big place, so you don't really like, they just, I guess they didn't matter much. So.
Okay, sister, could you just introduce yourself and tell us a bit how you became affiliated with the school, and then we'll move on to our issue about Muslim women here in America.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Kiran Little. Originally I was born in Pakistan. I came here in 1986 with my parents. I grew up here. I'm a special education teacher. I taught in public schools for 5 years. Afterwards, I had children. And
but Sister Karen, when you mentioned you taught in the public schools, can you tell us a bit about the environment in public schools for children so we can have a contrast between the public schools and the Muslim schools?
It's extremely different. In public schools, as I taught there, I learned, I taught all different grades. And the stuff that the kids were exposed to as far as music, videos, drugs, everything that as a Muslim child you should not be exposed to. All the children were exposed to it. I had a lot of Muslim students at public schools, and the things I used to hear them talk about, it was hard because they were in so much peer pressure. It's hard for a child to stay away from things that they're constantly around. So in a Muslim school, you don't have that type of setting. Yes, children are still exposed because you're in a country where all of that is very common. However, on a day-to-day basis, a child spends a lot of time in school. And if their friends are not in that environment and the school is not that type of environment, it makes a huge difference to that child. And that's what separates a Muslim school versus a public school or a private non-Muslim school. Because your environment is automatically better. Yes, you are exposed to things, but on an overall basis, that's not there. It's minimized.
So that's why it's very important for people to try to seek out Muslim schools and create Muslim schools.
Yes, it's very important because parents, have to understand that in the long run, a lot of people think that, a public school might give a better education, but you have to think, what education are you focusing on? Are you focusing on your Islamic, your deen, which is the most important, or are you focusing on English, math, science? And even in Muslim schools, that's great.
Right, it has to be a balance, but there's a total absence of Islamic studies.
Exactly, and then then your child, most of the children do things and get themselves in situations that they probably wouldn't if they were in a Muslim school, because they're not exposed. Their friends are not pressuring them to do certain things, listen to certain things that wouldn't happen if they were in a Muslim school. That's why I think it's very, very important.